Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we'll explore on GraphQL. By end of this video, you will able to know what is GraphQL and how to use GraphQL in Spring Boot applications. So first we'll see what is a GraphQL. GraphQL is a query language for your APIs. So if you see, this is a GraphQL website. So initially it was developed by Facebook. Now it is open source. So if you see, for example, this is your data, but client is expecting only specific field as a response. So here you have name, tagline, contributors, but client is expecting only tagline. He don't want name and contributors. So in this case, you will create the GraphQL. This GraphQL will return specific to that tagline. Only that particular field response it will return. We'll see this use case in the real-time example now. There is a inventory system service. So this inventory service will give you ID, name, category, price, stock, rating and few other fields. So let's consider around 50 fields are available in this inventory service. But this inventory service have their clients like catalog, sales, warehouse. So from this inventory service, catalog service expecting name and price, only 2 fields. Sales service expecting name, category, stock, rating. It is expecting 4 fields. But warehouse is expecting 3 fields only. So these 3 different lists expecting 3 different responses from the inventory service. So in this case, if you want to achieve this one using REST API, we need to create 3 different endpoints. For catalog, we'll create one catalog endpoint. That endpoint will return response as name and price, and sales endpoint will return the response as name, category, stock, rating, and the same as we need to create one more API for the warehouse, and it will return as per their expectations. Tomorrow there are few more clients came and they want different kind of responses, then again we need to create few more APIs as per their requirement. But it is not a recommended way to go through these scenarios. To resolve this scenario, we are going with GraphQL. So this is our use case. We'll implement this use case in Spring Boot with GraphQL. So first we can create Spring Boot application using start.spring.io, and I'm selecting Maven and Spring Boot version 3.3. Here I'm selecting AZTech as a group. Artifact ID is GraphQL service. This is artifact. Now I'm adding dependencies. One is web is required, and another one is GraphQL is required to work with GraphQL, and another one is JPA to work with database. So database I'm using MySQL database here, and one more dependency Lombard. So I'm added these 5 dependencies. Now I'm generating the project. Now we'll import this project into IntelliJ IDE. So GraphQL service imported into IntelliJ IDE. Now if you see the form.xml file quickly, so here I'm added data JPA, GraphQL, web, MySQL connector, Lambda. These are the 5 dependencies I'm added. So when we are added GraphQL into this form.xml file dependency, so it will automatically create it under resources GraphQL folder. Why we are using this GraphQL folder? We need to create schemas inside the GraphQL. We'll see how to create those schemas. So first we'll create package structure. One is for controller, one is for service, one is for entity, one is for repository. This is our package structure to work with any Spring Boot applications. Now we'll create one entity. So in our case, entity is a product. So this product will have 5 properties: private, integer, id, private, string, name, private, float, price, private, string, id, name, price, category, private, integer, stock, integer, stock. So these are the 5 properties. So we need to convert this one as a entity class. We need to use annotation entity, and we can create some setter and getters, but we are using lambda. We'll specify using annotation setter and annotation getter and annotation data. So now we can create this id as auto increment. For that one, we need to use annotation id and annotation generated value and strategy. Strategy will use generated type identity. So with this, our entity class is ready. Okay, now our entity class having 5 fields. Now as per this our use case, so here category will expect name and price from this, and sales will expect 4 fields, warehouse will expect 5 fields as a response. Now we'll create get ABS for this. So for this, first before going to creating, once product entity is ready, we'll create the repository. Product repository. So product repository is the interface which is extends JPA repository. So here our entity is a product, and here our return type is a integer. So if you go with our product class, if you see here is the integer as a data type. Okay, now our repository is ready. Now we will create service for this repository. So in the service, we'll name is product service, and inside the product service we'll create one method saying that we'll create one method to return list of product. So get products, this is the method. Now we can use return, and we need to call this one from repository. So we need to create repository object here first. So product repository annotation auto to create the object for that. Okay, now we can call product repository dot find all. It will return all the list of products available on the database table. Here I am using database as MySQL. Now we will create the controller for this service. Product controller. So, and we can create one get product method here. Public list of product get products. So this is the method will return list of products. So we need to call here product service. So product service, again it will call to repository. Annotation auto we need to use to create object for product service. So now we can call product service to get product. So internally this product service is calling repository. If you go with get products, see the calling the repository, and repository will fetch all the details. Now our controller is this, but if you are working with Spring Boot REST APIs, we need to use these annotations to define the API. Method level we need to use annotation get mapping, and the class level we need to use annotation REST controller and a request mapping, and here annotation get mapping. Okay, now if you are using this GraphQL, these annotations will not work. So in this case, class level we need to use annotation controller, and method level we need to use annotation query mapping. These are the two annotations is required. Okay, now controller is ready, entity is ready, repository is ready, service is ready. Now we need to add our database properties into that application.properties file. So here is my database properties, JPA properties, and these are the two properties required to enable GraphQL playground. It is like GUI to perform API testing. So next we need to create schema for this GraphQL. Right click, new GraphQL file. There we need to define schema. So while creating this one, it will give the extension dot GraphQL, but it is required GraphQL S. So we need to just mention GraphQL X and refactor here. Now we need to define our entity class. So this is my entity class, and we need to define those fields here. So once your entity is defined, now we need to define your query also, because we are using query mapping. Here we need to define that query mapping. Okay, graph query. So what is the method we are using? Get products. Product. So like this, we need to define the query here. So in the RESTable APIs, we'll use in the controller level, you can use annotation get mapping. Like here, you can use annotation query mapping, and this get product we need to define here. So these are the changes to require in the GraphQL side. So what are the changes we did? You can see once we created one entity class and created repository extending JPA repository, and created service with the method get products, but here we need to specify the service. Then in the controller we have created get products using annotation query mapping, and you can define annotation controller as a class level controller, annotation controller as a class level class level annotations. And the schema.graphql, here we are defined that our entity and the query, what are the query we are using only one method, we define get product. Then application properties, we are defined these two properties for GraphQL. Now we'll start our service. So we are performing get operation here. So for that one, we need some products in the database. So for that one, already I created one product table in the MySQL database. I'm added some items here. Okay, we need to add this one also. So once yeah, now it is application is started 9898. If you observed here some logs, so it is showing loaded one resource in the GraphQL schema. And if you see, so here products category, some details it is showing now. So our API is /GraphQL. So if you want to test this one, we can go with the Postman and we can use this query mapping. Okay, so go to the new, click on the GraphQL and it will open. You can enter your endpoint like http colon localhost 9898 slash GraphQL. Okay, whenever enter this one 9898 slash GraphQL, see it is showing loading inspection. See, now it is loaded. One query mapping, that is get product. If you see our controller, there is a get product, it is query mapping. So here also our API called slash GraphQL. So we need to specify localhost 9898 slash GraphQL. Now it is showing this one. So now we can retrieve the data from database using this query mapping. So in our case, how many fields are available? ID, name, category, price, and stock. So in the what is our use case? If the client want only specific fields as a response, we can use this GraphQL, right? So in this case, if you are try to enter this all the fields, if you see our GraphQL query is formed like get products, ID, name, category, price, and stocks. If you query this one, so it will given 200 strategies. Okay, and if you see the response, it is giving ID, name, category, price, and stock. All these fields it has returned as a response. Okay, but some clients they don't want all the fields. For example, if this inventory having more than 1000 fields, in this case they are expecting 5 to 10 fields from this. Another fields they don't want, right? So what we need to do here, instead of selecting all this, we can select whatever the fields you require. For example, I'm selecting ID, I'm selecting name and price. As for the catalog service, they need these two, right? And select this one. See, query change, you can enter this query, then it will return only name and price as for this name and price. But sales is required, name, category, stock. So name, category, you don't want the price, you want stock. So now again this query change, you can hit that query, then again it will give only those three fields related information, right? So like this you can implement the GraphQL API. So just now we are implemented only get products, right? So now we can try with this sales want these four fields as per the category. We can try one more get operation here, and we can write one more get operations. Public list of products get product find by category, and we need to pass input as category. What is which category you want to fetch? So here again we can call this method product repository dot find by category, and here you can pass category as input. So just we need to check the spellings we are using. This is the category. You can go to the service, you can use this category, and while creating this method also you can use find by and the field property name find by category. So now we need to create this same API from repository class also. So you can click this one, it will create method. So now it is created find by category, it will return the list of products. Okay, you can save this one. So there is a one more method I created, find by category based on the find by product based on the category. Here we'll create one more for that one. So public list of product get products by category. So in this case we need to pass the variable. So in the REST API we can use annotation, request param or path param to pass this one. But here we need to use annotation argument. So in the argument you can pass string as a category. So here what we need to call? We need to call product service dot get product find by category. We need to pass category as an input. And here method level anyway we need to use annotation query mapping. Okay, like this we need to create. Okay, so here I have created one more API, one more query mapping with annotation argument. We need to pass category as input. Based on the category it will return the list of products. Okay, now we'll restart this once. And before that one we need to add entry in the schema.graphql also. So here we need to specify that one. What is the method we are using? Get products by category. Like this we need to specify second query mapping. So now two query mappings are there. We'll restart our service once, and if you see these logs, methods using by find by, this name should be as per the field name, otherwise it won't create, it will give the issue. Okay, we'll try to restart now. Okay, now method name changed. Now we'll restart application. Now if you observe this one, now GraphQL endpoint same /GraphQL, and if you see, so now it is arguments showing. Okay, 9898 GraphQL. See, when I loading this GraphQL, now it is showing two entries. One is for get product, another one is for get products by ID. So now we can try with get product by ID. So if you want to category, you can select. See how this query is formatted. So this query now it is showing get products by category. Category is null. So here we need to enter the category. For example, if you go to the database, if you see the categories, I'll copy the category from the database like electronics, and go to the postman, enter this value. Now see, get product by category, category is electronics. Okay, now it is query is forming. So under the category I am using two fields, one is for category. In that category I want names. So if you see get product by ID laptops, it is showing names laptop, all the names it is coming from this. Okay, now if you want to multiple fields, then you can just select the, so name is done. Now select the stock. Okay, and execute this query. Now if you see how many laptops, 50, smartphones 100, office chairs, notebooks. So these many things are available. So like this we can able to query using GraphQL query. So till now we did only query mapping. So if you want to save any data into the database, also we can do using GraphQL. Okay, so as of now we seen get products and get products by ID. So now we can see one update functionality. So for this update functionality we can use annotation, mutation mapping, and we need to pass the arguments. One is for ID, another one is stock. Okay, for this ID, this stock will be updating. If you see here, based on the ID we are retrieving the existing product, and that product we are updating the stock, whatever the stock we are passing as a input. Okay, so for this one also we need to add this mutation like update stock. So this is the update update stack we are using here, and we'll try to start this service and test this mutation, how it will store update the data into the database. So for example, we can take any one of the product, for example product ID 1 and stock is 50, and we'll see here from the postman we'll see every time it is asking to open new one. Okay, so now you can see one is query, another one is mutation having update the stock. So okay, so if you are selecting the mutation, so this is the query, it is showing ID, name, category, price and stock. So if you click on the stock, so stock equal to null, so here we need to specify the stock, but in our case we need to pass ID and stock. ID, for example ID is 1, stock I want to update 500, so right now it is 50, now I want to update 500, and after that we need to return stock. So if you are update this product ID also you can give, and will perform this operation, and if you see it is written stock 500, price 75,000, ID is 1. So if you see the database, previously it is 500, if you refresh this database, now it is 500. Okay, so like this you can update the data into the database. This one mutation mapping, if you go to this service class update stock, so here again we are performing the repository.save only. Okay, so this is all about GraphQL. If this video is helpful for you, please like, share, comment and subscribe my channel.